From the morning rush to the midnight silence, or not, this is Morning to Midnight, the Autism Parent Diaries.
Ooh, my morning to midnight.
Tonight, I'm sitting down to reflect on the beginning, about my son, about those early years, and about the small things I noticed before I understood what they meant. I need to start by saying this clearly. I love my son. He's my firstborn, the boy who made me a mother. Long before he existed, I used to imagine my future kids, their faces, their personalities, the way they'd laugh. And somehow he arrived exactly like the child I pictured in my head. He's gorgeous. His smile is so wide and so bright, it genuinely lights up a room. He's funny too, and very smart. He does these quirky little things that catch you off guard and make you laugh even when you're exhausted. And honestly, he's probably the only child I know who will say V is for vicuña during phonics. Even as a teacher, he was constantly catching me off guard. But looking back, I was so anxious when I had him. And if I'm honest, I think some of that anxiety never fully left. When he was born, I expected that big movie moment wave of love to hit me. But what I felt wasn't that. It was something different. A fierce, instinctive protection. And he probably needed it. He was born premature, 5 weeks early, and so tiny. 4 pounds, 13 ounces. Before we could leave the hospital, he had to pass what felt like a series of tests. Feeding well, staying under the UV light for jaundice. All these hurdles for someone so small. But we made it through. 3 days later, on my birthday, we were discharged. Bringing him home felt like the best birthday gift I'd ever received. But that protective feeling never left. I remember being on the ward, desperate to take a shower. I asked the midwives, "How do I take a shower? No one's here to watch the baby." And they said, "Well, just go. Go and take a shower." I couldn't believe it. "You mean, leave him here?" The showers were down the hall, and once you stepped out, you couldn't hear anything. And the whole time I was in there, my mind was racing. What if he's crying? What if he needs me? What if something happens and I can't hear him? The silence in that shower felt louder than the water. He was a very clingy baby. He wanted to sleep on me, be on my chest, be held constantly. And back then the guidelines were strict. No co-sleeping. So I barely slept in those early months. Eventually, survival took over. I put him next to me in bed because that was the only way either of us got any rest. Apart from the clinginess though, he was a relatively easy baby. You could put him in the car for hours. He wouldn't cry, he'd just sleep or relax. And I mean really relax. No toys, no entertainment, just listening to whatever music I played through the stereo. I remember taking him to a huge Nigerian wedding when he was about 3 months old, the kind where the music shakes the floor, and he slept through almost the entire thing. As long as he was with me, he was fine. Looking back now, I realise how unusually quiet he was compared to other children. The way he'd wander off at kids' parties, or sit quietly by himself. As he got older, he started crawling, walking, all the usual milestones. We attended our health visitor appointments without any real concerns being raised. Then he turned 1, and I started waiting for words. He made sounds, but now that I know what babbling actually is, it wasn't that. As a first-time mum, I didn't know the difference. There were times I thought I heard him say "Mama" during his bedtime crying protests, but he never repeated it. It was like trying to catch smoke. You're not sure if it happened, or if you just wanted it to. It carried on that way for months. Little sounds, nothing clear, nothing consistent. He watched Miss Rachel intently, but never mimicked the words. I assumed it was a speech delay, maybe linked to his premature birth, and that he'd eventually catch up. I mentioned it to friends and professionals, but they told me not to worry, that boys develop slower than girls. Then one morning, as we were leaving for nursery, I asked him to go and get his shoes. He must have been around 2 years old. He looked around but didn't follow my eye gaze. He knew I wanted something, I could see that, but he couldn't understand what. I tried simplifying it. Get shoes. Nothing. Shoes. Still nothing. I pointed right at them. Still nothing. With every failed attempt, I got more frustrated, and he got more confused and upset. When he was younger, around 13 or 14 months, he could do it. I'd say, "Go and get Dougie," and he'd crawl over, pick up the stuffed Hey Dougie toy, and bring it back. I even remember ticking yes to the question, when you ask your child to get an object from another room, do they remember and bring it, on his milestones questionnaire. In other ways, he was thriving. At 2 years old, he could read and write up to 100, recite almost all the times tables up to 12, and spell long words, mostly animal names, but still. Those skills haven't left him. He builds on them every day. Looking back, I feel a mix of guilt and pride. Guilt because I pushed him on things for far too long, mistaking his lack of understanding for defiance. And pride because I nurtured and invested in his interests, from number blocks to animal sounds. Those were the things that lit him up. I'm still learning to give myself some grace. There wasn't one light bulb moment, not really. Just lots of tiny things that didn't quite fit together at the time. And somehow, looking back, they formed a picture I couldn't yet see.